not only a friend, but a family member. He's more than a friend to me. And I want to make sure that you guys direct your attention to Fernie, and I'll let Fernie take over.
Well, first and foremost, thank you, Sal. So Sal and I, we are family. He is my little brother's godfather, and Sal has seen me grow up since I was a little kid, probably as young or younger than you all. So he's very special to my heart, and he's a family member. I want to thank you. You guys look great. I love the suits. I love the effort that you put in. I know that Mr. Stewart is really doing and implying to teach you guys how to become a professional and prepare you guys for life. So let me get started with a little bit about who I am, and then we'll take it from there, okay? So my name is Fernando Alvarez. I was born and raised in Miami, Florida. My parents are from Cuba, like many of your parents are from different parts of the country. I went to Kinloch Park Elementary School back in 1985. Kinloch Park was a school that's located on Flagler Street and Northwest 3rd Street, so not too far from here. With that said, I was telling Sal, I'm so impressed with how beautiful the school looks in comparison to the school that I went to school. I actually drove by Kinloch Park Elementary. I've done it on numerous occasions. It's something that I do on my off time because it reminds me of who I am at heart and where I come from. I try to I keep a conscious effort of never forgetting where I come from. And sometimes, as we'll continue to talk, life tends to take in a certain path, and sometimes it's always good to give yourself what I call a gut check. But you guys have a beautiful school, so congratulations on that. So I played baseball, football, basketball my whole life. I was just a regular, normal kid like all of you. I used to get up in the morning, want to go to school, and I'd probably play basketball till 9 o'clock at night. My grandmother will come out and have to, bring me back in for supper and for dinner because I just wanted to play sports, and that was my life. My life was all based around sports, and I thank God for that every day because it kept me from a whole lot of troubles. So after Kinloch Park, I went to my 6th and 7th and 8th grade. I went to a Catholic school called St. Michael's. I went there for predominantly small time, but it was a great, very humble Catholic school, also located on Flagler and like 32nd Avenue. I went there 6th through 8th grade. I made amazing new relationships, amazing new friends. But as I went into the high school process, my parents could not afford or to put me in a private high school. So I ended up, I got a little bit of a taste of what that was like, but then I had to make a choice of what school I was gonna go to for high school. So then I ended up at Coral Gables High School. So I went to Coral Gables High School where I played basketball and I played football my freshman and sophomore year. And on my junior year, I transferred to the school that I graduated from, which is Coral Park High School, which is not far from here either. So my radius happens to be between Flagler and A Street. So I graduated from Coral Park High School in 1999. I made great friends, amazing relationships, and played for a really good football team, a really good baseball team. And from there, I went on to a small junior college in Kansas on a scholarship to play baseball in Dodge City, Kansas. Anybody heard of Dodge City? None of you, I figured that. So this is a very small school, junior college in western Kansas, out in the middle of nowhere. But it was a school that was able to identify the talent that God had given me to play baseball. And it's what I needed in order to prepare myself for the next level that was coming out my way. So I went to Dodge City. It was, again, another great experience. I met great relationships, and I use the word relationships. I'm doing it intentionally because I'm gonna teach you guys that life is all about relationships. From Dodge City, I get drafted by the Chicago White Sox. And I decided not to go play with the Chicago White Sox because it was more important for me to go get my education. So after my sophomore year in junior college, I get a full scholarship to play baseball at FIU, at Florida International University. I played there all the way through 2004. I once again get drafted by the Chicago White Sox. So I'm lucky to say that I was not drafted only once, but I was drafted twice by Major League Baseball, which is, I think it's a cool thing. So it's something that I keep in my heart, very close to me. From there, I went to the Chicago White Sox organization. I traveled. I was in Montana, I was in Arizona, I was in Utah, I was in Idaho. I traveled throughout the northwestern part of the country. And in 2006, I realized that the game that I loved and had prepared me so much for life, which we'll get into that as well. I was not aware of that the game had prepared me for life, but the game of baseball that I love so much was coming to an end. And that was a really, really, really tough decision for myself. So I can still recall that day very vividly. My grandmother was arguably my grandmother and my father were my biggest supporters in baseball. And my grandmother actually taught me how to play baseball when I was a little kid. So she was the first person I called from, I was living in a trailer park in an inflatable bed in Tucson, Arizona. And let me tell you guys how it hit me. In the minor leagues, does anybody follow baseball a little bit? A little bit? So, you know how there's like the Major League Baseball players, and then there's the minor league baseball players, right? The minor leaguers are trying to make it. We don't make a lot of money. We make very little money. So, as I'm 24 years old, and I'm, which in sports is kind of old, right? Even though we're very young in life, in sports, 24 is really the peak moment in your life on whether or not you're going to be a professional athlete or you're not. So my time came and my time went, and I had a conversation with a gentleman who was my coach, call him my teacher. And I said, his name was John Orden. And I said, J.O., for the next 10 minutes, you're not going to be my coach, you're going to be my father. And I asked him one question. I said, am I ever going to play in the big leagues? And he looked at me, and within 2 seconds, he said, probably not. And that was the toughest words I had ever heard in my life. They still made me kind of emotional. But those 2 words were 2 words that I heard my entire life. I probably wouldn't be good enough to do this, or I wouldn't be good enough to do that, or I didn't belong here, or I didn't do this because I didn't have money. So anytime you told me no, it was like putting fuel into my spirit, and gas. But I was mentally ready to walk away from the game that gave me so much. So J.O. tells me probably not. We shook hands, I cried. I gave him a hug and I said, thank you for being honest, and thank you for really taking off. As a teacher, coaches are teachers. He didn't have to do that. So I love that he was very honest with me. So in 2006, my career comes to an end. And now I got to go into the real world. So the game, again, had prepared me for life. The game I had an education. I went to FIU. I had a degree. So I had options because I had a college degree. And I could have, I didn't have to just rely just on baseball. So after that, I come back to Miami. I become a school teacher. My first job was as a teacher. And for 2 years I did that. I was coaching baseball, and I was kind of being around the game, but there was always this part of me that wanted to do something different in the world of business. I loved and I enjoyed business, and I realized that in the world of teaching, I could not utilize those tools and those assets that I had been prepared with. So in 2007 and 2008, I ventured into the insurance world, which is what I'm in now, and I've been doing that now for 12 years. So I really want to emphasize that. So that's the whole intro of who I am and where I got here. When I look back, and whether it's, for me, it was through sports. For you, it could be through music, it could be through art, it can be through anything that you have. When I look back, and Sal and I have talked about this on numerous occasions, what I thought the game of baseball was doing for me was, to make me this famous guy, and I was going to make millions of dollars, and which is great. I'm all about entrepreneurship, and I want to see people excel. But when I look back at 27, I realized in 26, it hit me one day. I said, you know what? The game of baseball had not prepared me for baseball. It had prepared me for life. And it gave me all the tools because I failed so much. All I ever did was fail. All I ever knew was, you're not good enough. You don't belong here. And I had to prove myself every single day. I was only as good as my last at bat. And what I mean by it is, all the good that I did yesterday didn't matter because today I had to do it again. And that always helped my mindset every single day in my preparation. And that's one of the things I want to focus with you guys on today is I want to talk to you about preparation. Every minute that you have a breath in you and that you're alive, you have a chance to prepare yourself and become better at whatever it is that you want to do. Whether it's in the classroom, whether it's at home, whether it's on Saturdays when you're at the park, there's always something that you can work on. You constantly have to be prepared. We live in a society right now where we feel that people owe us stuff and this sense of entitlement. And I'm here to tell you that the world owes you nothing. And that I wish I would have known this when I was your age. And I know it's hard, and I'm gonna try to plant the seed today so as your life goes on, maybe in 10 years it'll hit you. The minute you realize that nobody owes you nothing, it's gonna be the most best and most freedom and liberty feeling you're gonna have for yourself, because you're gonna realize that you can do what you wanna do if you work at it, if you prepare. But preparation is something that has to be relentless, and it's something that has to take place every day, and it's a conscious effort. And it has to take place even on the days that you don't feel it, the days that you're tired, the days that you have challenges that are completely out of your control. You've got to have a mindset where you stay focused and you're constantly being prepared. When that teacher's talking, there's something she's saying. Even if you capture one thing, that one thing can change your entire life. One sentence, one thought pattern can change your entire game. So it's important that we're constantly preparing, and we're constantly being educated, and we're constantly looking forward to what the beautiful future that awaits you guys. And that future is really up to you, and it's how much you believe in yourself. Many people aren't going to believe in you, and that's okay. Your friends may not believe in you. Your family sometimes may not believe in you. But as long as you believe in yourself and you have a vision for what you want to do, that vision will carry you. And it will take you. And sometimes the road will be tough and the road will be challenging. And that's okay, because when you finally get to where you want to go, that victory is going to feel that much more, it's going to feel that much better. Because you're going to be able to look in the mirror and say, you know what, nobody gave me nothing. I earned my way into success. I earned my way into whatever it is that you want to do. It wasn't given. It wasn't an entitlement. Nobody owed you nothing. It was your heart. It was your mindset. It was your faith. It was where you wanted to go. And that takes a relentless focus. And even though you're young and you're only in 7th grade, I can remember as a little 7th grader that I always had a relentless focus. I knew what I wanted. I knew where I wanted to go. And I knew my why. And your why will change. Your why today may not be your why a year from now. But that's the ultimate question. Write it down. Why? Why do I want to do what I want to do? And only you know that. And you don't need to share that with nobody. That's you, and between you and what I say to the man upstairs. I don't know if that's politically correct nowadays, but it's between you and God. So you write down your why. Why are you here? Is it because one of you guys wants to be an engineer? One of you wants to be a teacher? One of you wants to be a professional baseball player? One of you wants to dance? Is it because you want to take your family, who's trying to give you everything they have, and they are being challenged to do that? Maybe you can be the one that can say, you know, jump on my ship and let's move forward. Coach Stewart has been coaching his entire life. All he knows how to do is coach. He's wired to coach. It's why he doesn't believe in excuses the same way I don't, because he came from different circumstances himself. So he gets the big picture, right? Your passion is arguably the one thing that a teacher, a coach, a parent, a brother, a sister can't teach. I can't teach you to want something for your life. I can teach you how to prepare for it. I can teach you how to get there. I can navigate the plan for you, but I can't play the game for you. In baseball, I say, I can teach you how to hit the baseball, but I can't go up to bat for you and swing the bat. I can prepare you, we can work at it, we can work on your mindset, but when you go up to bat, that's on you. Your passion is in your heart, and your heart knows what it loves to do and what it doesn't love to do. And for some of you, it may be, again, sports, journalism, teaching, science. These are all beautiful things. These are all, the world is all collaborated. This is something everybody needs to bring in. For some of you, you guys may want to be the best janitorial. You may want to still have a company that cleans floors. It doesn't matter. What matters is that you're living who you are and what your passion is. Not what somebody wants you to be. It doesn't matter what I want my son to be. I need my son to be who he is, and I need my daughter to be who she is. They don't need to be Fernie. They don't need to be my wife Giselle. God put them on this earth and they have their purpose. And you guys will start to find out what your passion is. There's gonna be something that stirs you up inside that you just love to do. And you gotta chase that. That's your destiny. And you have to run after your destiny. I will jump to the conclusion that many of you here come from very humble beginnings. Am I correct? Mom and dad are working hard. Nobody's living in a mansion. Not that there's something wrong with that. But you guys have to work that much harder. I had to work that much harder. But here's the beauty. Ready? You want to be the guy driving your ship. It's going to feel that much better. You want to be the children that get to control the environment that one day you're going to lead. If you're in an unhealthy environment, you know that. Maybe things at home aren't the best. Maybe there's some challenges that you face every day that only you know. That environment you can change. And at your age, with all the resources you have here, you have a man that you can sit down and talk to about anything and say, you know what, Coach Stewart? This is going on at home and it's affecting me. It's why I can't study. It's why I can't do this. And that's okay. It's okay not to be okay. Okay? I can tell you that as a young child, sometimes I didn't talk. I should have said more. I should have said, you know what? I should have gone to my coach and said, you know what? Yesterday was a tough day for whatever reason. But instead of me holding that inside and trying to do things on my own, it affected me. You have resources now, unlike any other. You have a coach, you have a principal, you have people. I never really, you know, the beautiful thing about getting older is that I now realize how many people love me. I didn't know how many people love me. There's a lot of people that love you. I want to see you succeed. This school exists for a reason. It's here for your benefits, for your gain, for you to maximize every resource. You guys should ask him 1,000 questions a day to the point where they say, get out of my face. Run out, ask him questions. He's bringing me here, he'll have other speakers, but maximize your resources. Maximize it all. And more importantly, again, find your passion, what it is that you love you do, and do it. Do it. And do it even when it feels uncomfortable. Do it even the days that you don't want to do it. Sometimes I run a business And sometimes it's hard, and sometimes like, man, I gotta get up and do this again today. But yeah, I have to dig deep. And you know when I do that, I don't make it about me no more. I don't make it about me. That's how I find my fire. Maybe it's not about you. Maybe you do it for other reasons that motivate you and get you to do things that are uncomfortable. Because the game is not always about you. So, preparation and passion. Those are the two really good things that I really want to speak to you about today.
Right? And I'm sitting over there and listening to Fernie, and a couple of you guys, I see that there's smoke coming out because you're listening. So the rules to the game, right, means that, as an example, if I were to use you as an example, means that you have people around you that can help you. But it's not always gonna be what you need, right? So if I know that for me to get to high school, my teachers here are gonna make a big role. They play a huge role in me getting to high school, right? My assistant principal and my principal have a part in this, right? My parents have a role in this. So then I say, okay, so if this is what I need to be able to be successful, I know that my teachers, my assistant principal, my parents, I have to make sure that I somehow mold them to understand what I need so everyone can help me. If there's one thing that I agree 100% with, is that no one owes you anything. And sometimes you forget that. So the quicker you understand that there's a plan for everything, let's play with those rules, the quicker you learn those rules, the easier the game will be. Correct? In this class, it's not about you, it's about what I have to give you to pass the class. You might not agree with taking notes, you might not agree with doing the reading that you have to do, you might not agree with those things. But that's part of the rules of the game. So the easier you understand that I have to follow those rules because I need a grade in my class to be able to pass, the same thing will go on in life. And that's important for you to understand.
He's your leader. Everybody has a leader. Every company has a CEO. And people work for the CEO. And the CEO's job is to lead those underneath him to play for. His job is to put everybody in their best position to win the game. And how he treats you may not be how he treats her, and vice versa. With that said, there's always going to be a standard, and the standard is not flexible. You follow me? In other words, every institution and organization has rules, and they don't bend the rules for you. They can communicate with you differently, they can treat you differently, it could all be, that's all flexible. But the standard and the rules of the institution or organization in which you work for or you play for, you're never going to be bigger than them. As a matter of fact, the CEO is not bigger than the program. The program is always bigger than everybody.
Well said. If you have questions, I think you can ask now.
Of course.
And we're going to try to help you out in answering questions.
What motivated me to be where I'm at? Actually, that's a very good question. Since I was a child, and I always, again, my passion was to be this Major League Baseball player, right? I thought that. My passion was always to just succeed and to come out ahead and to maximize the talent that God gave me in whatever it is that I was, that He put me in. My environment is my number one motivator. And to put this in a certain way, sometimes the environment that you're in is unhealthy. And those are the realities of life. Those are the facts. Not every family is perfect. And you love your family, but sometimes your friends aren't perfect, right? But you want to create the best environment that you can for yourself so that you can then succeed and one day you'll have a family, and surround them in this healthy environment. So my environment drove me a lot because I grew up in an area where we weren't unprivileged, but it was a very tough situation. So every day I used that to say, okay, how am I going to get out of this environment, and how am I going to be the guy today, one day to lead my family into a healthy environment? So that was my motivation today, yesterday, until the day I die. Is to create a healthy environment. Repeat after me. Failure is a part of the winning process. I talk about this a lot with my organization in my office. You have to fail in order to learn how to win. You don't wake out of bed winning. You have to fail in order to learn how to win. Failure has a negative, sounds like a bad thing. It's actually your biggest teacher. I only got better because I was able to look at my game, whether it be in business, whether it be in my own in relationships, whether it be on the baseball field, say, okay, where did I fail here? Where did I not communicate right? Where did I not practice enough? You identify that and you fill in that gap and you move forward. But if I don't fail, I can't identify my own weaknesses. And you got to check your ego out the door, because sometimes, you think you have it all figured out, and we don't have it all figured out. We're just a bunch of human beings, learning every single day. But failure is a part of the winning process. You've got to fall in love with failing. Embrace it, encourage it, because let me tell you something. That's going to be the difference maker. In the end, there's going to be people that fail, and they're going to feel sorry for themselves, and they're going to think that the world owes them something, and they're going to sit and pout. Listen to me, it's okay to have a day or two to yourself. Give yourself a little pity time if you want to give yourself that. But at some point, you got to pivot, and you got to stay relentless and stay focused. That's how winners are made. You talk to all this. If you guys were to go on Google and go on Forbes list, right, and look at the major CEOs of this country, leaders of all organizations, whether it be in the classroom, I guarantee you, if I ask Coach Stewart today, Coach Stewart, have you ever failed as a teacher?
Absolutely.
As a coach?
Absolutely.
A lot.
A lot.
As a human being?
A lot.
Is he failing or is he winning right now? He's winning. I listened to a podcast about 3 months ago, and it was on Kobe Bryant. And when Kobe Bryant was 12 years old, he wanted to quit the game of basketball because he didn't feel he was good enough. And he was sitting down with his father. He had a very good father. And he's telling his dad how he feels. And his dad looked at him and said, Kobe, you can do whatever you want to do, but I just want you to know one thing. I love to watch you play. Failure doesn't determine who you are. See, Colby wanted to quit because he thought that he was being judged, and he felt down. He was giving, instead of him focusing on his game, he was worried about what everybody else was thinking. And his dad looked at him and said, son, I don't care if you are the worst basketball player on the planet. I just want you to know that I love to watch you play. So, even Kobe Bryant, the GOAT, one of the best, the relentless, most fierce fighter on a basketball court, and in life, failed, and failed a lot. But he took that and he used it as fuel to make his game better. That's what he did. He never felt sorry for himself, ever. As a matter of fact, he went around writing children's books, and one of the books I just bought for my little daughter talks about how you gotta bust your butt and you gotta work when you're young. And what Coach Sal said is the truth, you know? Early bird gets the early worm. If you can figure this out now, just a little bit, I know you guys are young, but if you can just figure out, I'm gonna work my butt off, that is a huge edge. I run a company. I get to interview people, and I get to sit down with people, and I get to travel sometimes, and I've been able to build beautiful relationships. I've been so blessed, beyond what I could have even imagined. And any time that I sit down with people who are really succeeding, we never talk about their success. We're always talking about how the grind was so hard, and sometimes the failure was so overwhelming, but there was always a little light, that belief system in you, and that's what makes you great, and that's what keeps you going. That's what makes you a great husband one day, a great father one day, a great teacher, because success is not about money. If I ever come back, we'll talk about that. Success is about you living your dream. Money can't buy happiness. Inspiration?
You are a great inspiration.
Oh, thank you so much. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. Thank you so much. I'm humbled by that. Trust me. This is another thing I want to make clear. You guys, you know, I've been around, you know, baseball Hall of Famers, friends of mine, Hall of Famers, right? They're always in the media. They're always in the news. They're just normal people, just like you and I. There's no difference. You want to know what the difference was? They have one thing that's very different. Their mindset. That's it. They bleed red just like you and I do. They have skin. Some are black, some are white, some are Chinese. They're just human beings. The difference is they wanted it that much more. Sometimes not even the talent was as great as others, believe it or not. Sometimes it was just the willpower and the passion that they had to just take it to a whole nother level. So they're no better than you. I'm no better than you. I'm just older than you. I'm more mature than you, and I have more experience than you. I can only imagine that years from now, several of you will be giving this same talk somewhere else. But right now, you got to pay your dues.